Good morning, Colorado Women's Chamber. Happy Monday. I am so excited today because we have with us my dear friend and colleague and mentor and all things amazing, Lorii Rabinowitz, the CEO of the Denver Scholarship Foundation. Welcome, Lorii.
Thank you so much, Kristen. It's such an honor to be here. Such an honor to be here with you as such a dear friend and mentor and guide to me. So thank you.
Thank you for doing this. You know, you and I were speaking recently at an event, and you were talking about something that I think is maybe kind of missing a lot of people, and we're not really thinking about it. But I really wanted you to talk to the Women's Chamber members about something that you've been noticing, which under most occasions can be really celebratory, but under, COVID occasion is kind of cause for warning. And I was hoping that you'd sort of talk about it with us, given your experience at the DSF.
Sure, absolutely. So at Denver Scholarship Foundation, we do our work in three parts: college access, promise-based scholarships, and college success. Our college access work is done in partnership with Denver Public Schools. We have 14 future centers, traditionally inside high schools, of course, now working in a virtual environment. But it gives us the opportunity to work with every senior in the high school and about half of our schools, 9th through 11th graders as well. And so have had the opportunity to work very closely with students since they've come into DPS, and most specifically here in the tail end of last spring semester, once the pandemic hit and everything closed down, let's say mid-March forward. And with our high school seniors at that time, our advisors who work one-on-one directly with our high school students were not only working in the space of post-secondary planning, but also around essential needs. So access to healthy food, any housing instability,
Right.
our families were facing access to technology, a whole host of different circumstances that in many cases were exacerbated, that our students and families face in other circumstances as well, and has been exacerbated during the pandemic. And so over the course of the conversations in late March into and through the summer, our seniors in high school specifically, who ultimately would go on to become our DSF scholars, which is our promise-based scholarship, and then on to our college success program, which we provide in partnership with our 31 college partners to provide our students go to campus. As you can imagine, that graduating from high school, taking on the scholarship, going on to college has been a really interesting process for our students during this particular time.
Right.
And nationally, we know that about 20% of graduating high school seniors were making different decisions. They were choosing to take a gap year in some circumstances, choosing not to go to college at all. And we worked really closely with our students and our families to talk about the importance of continuing into and onto their post-secondary journeys. We spent the better part of the summer working through a phenomenon called summer melt, which is when students graduate from high school, are accepted into college, and then for one reason or another melt off, don't actually enroll and start the semester in the fall. And so our DSF advising team worked really hard to ensure that our students would continue to follow their dreams and follow that post-secondary pathway that they had worked so hard to get to, or that they get through, right? And our students' persistence and their tenacity is just absolutely extraordinary, especially in these times. And so because we know that statistically when students take a year in between, statistically it's less likely for students to ultimately enroll in college. And in particular in this environment, oftentimes if students choose to take a gap year for religious reasons or for a Peace Corps experience, or a host of other opportunities that are scheduled and framed, given travel restrictions and the pandemic as a whole, those opportunities weren't available over the summer either. So a gap year really meant a gap and potential of not returning. And so what we were so fortunate to see, and again, such a testament to our DSF advising team and our students' persistence and tenacity of both, is that we received more scholarship applications this year than last, which was incredible. And again, such a celebration of their strength and their pushing forward to achieve those dreams.
Well, not a surprise coming from you and your leadership that you're bucking the trend. And it's so interesting. I've been reading so much about, tenacity, right now, right? And how important that is to have. And I think, you know, it's going to speak volumes for these students down the road that they've had the tenacity to get through COVID and to go to college and still continue to jump in and do it. So I'm so glad that that's happening, because I know a lot of students, they're like, well, if I have to go online for part of the time, I guess I'm not really going to go. And I just think that, yeah, you're missing out on that fun experience, because I remember it in the dorms. But ultimately, at the end of the day, you know, going and staying in college is way more about, you know, the experience and the learning and the independence. And so I'm so glad to hear that you all have had success with that. So thank you.
Thank you. And that this is a moment in time, right? It's a longer moment in time than anticipated, certainly, but it will come to an end, and that on-campus college experience will be available again. And for many of our college partners, it's available now. So
yeah,
that's been really exciting to see as well. I think our scholars' college experiences will look a little bit different here as they start, and also,
well, and long term too, right? Like, I know that when I first went to college, the idea of an online class was like, no way. Now maybe there'll be more options. And maybe options to take classes with students abroad, or I think there's going to be great experiences coming out of this. So
exactly. So much learning. Couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. Now we're going to get to our 2 questions that we find that our members tend to learn so much from leaders like yourself that have had such incredible experiences. And again, I have to keep saying again and again that you've been so monumental to me and such an incredible mentor on strategy and leadership and vision and believing in me. So I can't wait for you to share your thoughts with our members. So what is a time in your life or work or both when you've persevered, and how did you come out of it?
My gosh, there are so many, especially right now. And thank you so much, Kristen. I admire and respect you so much, your leadership and the way in which you lean in for all of our Women's Chamber members, and the partnership that we've had the opportunity to establish between Denver Scholarship Foundation and the Women's Chamber. So thank you. And thank you most of all for your friendship. I appreciate you so much. And I think that leads me to, again, as I can think through a number of different times that we've been afforded the opportunity to persevere, both personally and professionally. Here in the professional space, it really has helped our team at DSF communicate more deeply, and ensure that we are amplifying and really hearing the voices of our colleagues. I think many of us, myself included, have taken for granted that organic opportunity in a shared workplace to be able to see one another, jump into someone's office and say, hey, I have a quick question. How was your weekend? How was your family? And now in a virtual space, it doesn't happen as organically. It has to be that much more purposeful and intentional. And so we've been working closely together as a team to think about new ways to do that, new ways to connect, new ways to ensure deeper level communication, and make sure that everyone feels informed, because we're all navigating this time of uncertainty so much. And the persevering part in navigating through that has shown itself, especially over the last couple of weeks. We held internal design sessions to ask our colleagues what would make everyone feel better during this time, feel best during this time. And so we've eliminated internal meetings on Fridays. We've gone from a 60-minute meeting schedule to a 50-minute meeting schedule, and started helping our colleagues optimize their workspaces. And so in the office, we have the opportunity to utilize 2 monitors and an ergonomic chair, and some of those benefits that we hadn't thought about working in the office. And so just last week, distributed a number of those as well, so that our colleagues' home workspaces are as friendly and and warm as they are here. And then personally, certainly with our family, I've had the opportunity to join an incredible family. My significant other has a 10-year-old and a 13-year-old. I've been lucky to be in their lives for the last 4 years, but really having moved in, gosh, now a couple of years ago.
Wow.
And unfortunately, right?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, their mom having passed late last year in December, navigating that journey together as a family, and pushing through, creating space to ensure that we're celebrating their mom, and at the same time coming together to build our family in celebration of holding that space. So that has
Do you think in some way, Lorii, that, because I know I was with you during those times a little bit, and I know how painful that was for you. Do you think that in some way, some of the, I hate to say skills, right? But I mean, I've been through, the loss of a friend and a family member, and it's incredibly painful. But do you think that you picked up like some skills that maybe are helping you get through COVID now?
Yeah, absolutely. Many of those skills I learned from you. So thank you. And absolutely. I mean, I think even in the opportunity to have an this immersive chance to come together as a family, COVID has created that for us.
Right.
And I've always admired parents and teachers more than any other group of guides. And it's a balance. I mean, it's really a balance to be able to prioritize family and work and ensure that the two are integrated in a way that serves our team, serves our students, serves our family, serves each other. And so taking both learnings from the professional space into our family life, and from our family life into our professional life, I think more than ever has been impactful in this particular window of time. I also think it's helped to forge better relationships internally with our colleagues and with our family, because we ask more questions of each other. We're more inquisitive. We're more focused and more than I would say we have been in the past.
It is so interesting that you say that. I was thinking about that. I was on a walk with the team this morning, and we were doing our team meeting, and we didn't really talk much about work at all. We talked about each other. We talked about life. I feel closer in a way to the people that I work with than I ever have before. And I can't say that I really truly understand why, but maybe it's because, when we come together that there's that need for closeness. I'm not really sure, but I'm really enjoying that. There's like the family dynamic at work and the family dynamic at home. And, I'm a part of my partner has children too. And it's been so nice to have sort of multiple kind of family units to be a part of. It's so valuable. And I do think that maybe because we need to connect over Zoom now, that looking at coworkers as like one of our family units in life might be an interesting outcome.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. We talk about our DSF family a lot, and this has given us the opportunity not only to strengthen and deepen that, but I think there's something really special about someone inviting you into their home. And this environment has created that space, right? Every day we're in one another's homes and lives, and kids and pets and members, and that's a part of this experience. What a gift that has been.
I never thought about that, but it's funny. Like, and what a story the pictures behind us tell, right? I was on a call yesterday with someone that had like a weight bench behind him, and just like, and he was in his office, and it just tells a story about someone like, oh, he likes to be fit, and it's in his office, and I don't know, it's just kind of interesting and cool. So, okay. So what is a mantra that you live by in your life?
I actually just learned a new one last week from a friend and mentor, and I've carried it with me this week, and I really feel like I'm going to continue to carry it forward, which is, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And as we think about new ways to innovate and collaborate and come together, I'm constantly reminded of how not only spot on that is, but how important that is, especially in this environment, because we have to be so purposeful in ensuring that collaboration, that it really is true. Certainly you can get 20 things done by yourself in one day, but they're not nearly as strong, effective, nor do they hold the same level of efficacy, honestly, than when we invite our colleagues, voices and different perspectives and different insights and different expertise, we always land in a better place.
It's so true. And it's sort of celestial. I think I needed that advice today, because isn't it so true? Like, I feel like just during COVID, it's like, I feel like we just need to like push through. We got to push through 2020. We got to get to December, and we have to do all these new innovative things, because if we don't, we're not going to be like, there's all of this pressure and fear to like push things through, right?
Yep.
As opposed to just like taking it slow, working together, bouncing the ideas off of what society has slowed down anyway.
Right.
You know, so like just
Right.
take a breather and
Right.
think about it, you know?
Mm-hmm. And benefiting from that exchange too, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I've had so many conversations about, present company included, about just making it through the day sometimes feels like, what an accomplishment.
Yeah, I
And
know.
for high achieving, high performing professionals, that doesn't feel like enough. And I think in this environment, we've all learned to embrace differently that making it through the day sometimes is a major accomplishment.
Yeah.
And what are we learning from it and from each other? And when we don't have, don't take the opportunity to engage with one another and get that perspective, then we miss out, I think, on that piece.
Oh, such great advice. Thank you so much, Lorii. And our community and our students are so, so fortunate to have you. Thank you. And thanks for all you're doing.
Thank you for all you're doing.